there. How are you?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm gonna have some fun with this one. We're gonna be hanging out for 15 minutes. This is kind of a big deal because you're the first Bainbridge person that we're gonna be doing, because we are now starting to do Bainbridge podcasts every single Saturday. So you're gonna be the first. How's that sound?
I love that. I like being the first. First is the best.
Yeah, a little bit of pressure on you. You got to come through, man.
Okay, I'll try.
All right, so we're going to be talking about 15 minutes. We're going to be talking about being an entrepreneur, the real estate market on Bainbridge, whatever we can do to add value to Bainbridge Island people and make it fun all at the same time. Sound good?
That sounds great. I can do it.
All right, first, tell us a little bit about you and tell everyone how we met, and it's a cool story.
Oh, yeah, it's a cool story. Well, I've known you now for about 25 years, I believe. And I know, right? That's hard to understand considering we're only 35.
Yeah.
But yeah, we met through my ex-husband, and you were just newly married yourself, I believe, and bought a house. So, and then you're still living in that house today.
Exactly. You helped me to buy that house. So obviously we love the house, living on Bainbridge for all these years. And you're a real estate agent, obviously a very, very well-known real estate agent on the island. Tell us a little bit about, real estate and what it's like being an entrepreneur. So I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to throw a lot of questions at you. Go.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Well, as I mentioned, I've known you for 25 years, and that is how long I've been doing real estate on Bainbridge Island. And in reality, it's been about 30 years. So what a lot of people don't understand is that, yes, indeed, we are an entrepreneur. We are self-employed. We do not get a paycheck from whatever parent company we may be in. For instance, I'm with Sotheby's, as you know, Realogic Sotheby's. Mm-hmm. And so the only way that, I make any money is if I sell a property, and then I have to manage my expenses and everything out of that.
All right. So, you're definitely an entrepreneur, just with the real estate agent moniker. So has it been, obviously you're well known, so you're experienced. Most of the people watching and listening to this, by the way, we have 2,000 real estate agents who will be watching and listening to this, hopefully at a minimum. We have about 12,000 entrepreneurs and about 4,000, maybe 4,000 more from a strategic alliance. So there's going to be a lot of people listening to this who are entrepreneurs and in the real estate space. So what are some kind of tips and tricks that you found have been successful for you being an entrepreneur, and then maybe even as far as real estate sales?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I think one of the things that I've not ever worked in the corporate world, right, per se. I just started, basically my first career was real estate. I did a little stint, like for 2 years, as a flight attendant out of college. But, I think as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, one of the things that's important is your marketing, right? And how you're going to market yourself. And that takes a lot of work, and it takes consistency in order to build up your own brand. And that can be true for, someone who's maybe a mortgage broker or a real estate agent. You kind of handle your business the same way, in that you need to build a brand for yourself outside of your company's name. So I think that's kind of an important thing to know, and to just be consistent in the marketing and the branding.
Yeah, because you're doing a lot of marketing. I've noticed that. So, and when everyone talks about consistency, so how many times are you, posting on social media? Are you the one who's doing it? Do you have someone else doing it? Why not open the door a little bit there?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had not been consistent for a while, and kind of somewhere now, which is weird because you think someone with a business degree in marketing would have known that you need to be consistently marketing, but somewhere along the way that kind of fell off. And but then in the last few years, couple of years especially, I've been focusing on marketing through social media. And I had learned and heard, that video is so important. And because that's the new way of connecting with people. And obviously the younger generation, our kids, really know no other way other than that. That doesn't mean that we give up the traditional marketing methods. You just have to also incorporate video. And I've found that right now, as far as I know, I'm probably the only one on Bainbridge Island that is doing the extent of social media marketing that I am. I post every single day. And I've been learning as I go along. I do have a virtual assistant that I hired.
Hmm.
She's based out of the Philippines, and I had actually found her through another small business entrepreneur, and it's really great and very affordable. And it's a way, I think, to me, social media is the absolute best way for the lowest
Mm.
amount of money to get your name and yourself out there. And so I'm not just doing just regular posts, I'm also doing Facebook ads, to where I've had to go in and I've learned how to do a campaign,
Hmm.
um, and through Meta, and so it goes on to Instagram and Facebook, and
Hmm.
then I
So
actually buy and do reach ads. There's all kinds of interesting things, however far you wanted to go with it. But there's reach ads, there's leads ads, there's video views ads, and those all just depend on what your goal is.
so the social media's worked for you. So have you brought in any big deals based on the social media posts or your presence?
I have actually. I
No.
just this year I got a DM from a gal who lives, actually is currently living in Tennessee, but she has a home that she was using as renting out as an Airbnb in Paulsbo area, and they decided they wanted to sell. And she somehow or other, we connected on Facebook, or Instagram, and she sent me a message and said, "Hey, we want to sell this. Would you be interested?" I've watched, and one of the big things for her is she said she'd been following me. She loved my client testimonials. And
Very
so that
good.
was $1 million sale, and we just went pending on it. Yay, this week.
Congratulations.
So I can, say without a doubt that one for sure. And there's been other people that had called. I'm working with some buyers right now who I think they just seen my overall online presence.
It it blows me away because obviously from whatever 2008 when Meta or basically Meta came on the scene to really recently. I eschewed marketing. I didn't want to do any marketing. I didn't want to do any sales. I definitely didn't want to do any social media. But one, I'm having fun that I've done it, and then
Mhm.
two, I'm bringing in business from it. It's helping. It's going to help the younger people in the company. So I would say, I mean, my message to a lot of people is, hey, right now the only way to market is now social media. No one's using the old, yellow pages. It's kind of the
Yeah.
new storefront. So you really have to. And I know it's hard. I think it's hard for some of the people who have been around. Let's say they're mature in their 50s, 60s, who they don't think marketing makes sense via social media. I think it's a must. It's a must do. It really is.
Oh, it really is. And I think that, it can add on, but I think it really needs to be, if I were starting my business brand new today,
Mm.
I would definitely make social media probably, the main focus of my marketing, because that's the only way to reach a larger group. And then it also gives you some authority, because the whole point of social media is to get people to like, know, and trust you.
Mm-hmm.
And because otherwise, because it's a big transaction that they're going to be doing, and if they're going to be buying a home, and so they need to have that level of trust. And it may start 2 years. They may
Yeah.
been kind of casually seeing you. You just want to show up everywhere. That where like, oh, who's this Kristi Nelson gal? At first they may not ignore it, may not pay attention to you, but then when real estate starts to come into their mind, then like, oh yeah, I do know someone in real estate. Yeah.
It totally makes sense because back in the old days, they used to say I think it took 7 touches. Now to get a new customer because they want to see a lot. It's just like you say, know, like, and trust you. But now I think it's 11. One of my buddies told me it's 11 times. They must see you, whatever, 11 times. And
Mhm.
one of the best ways to do that is, through social media. And plus, more than anything, I think you get more referrals because you might have a client who, did a piece of business with you, buy a house as an example. And then all of a sudden they're going to, they see you more and more, and then they're going to buy another house from you, another house from you. So the client acquisition cost, therefore, is cheap. Plus, the referral cost is very, very cheap as a result. I think it's the only
Yeah.
way to go. I laugh at myself that I used to blow it off. I used to think,
Yeah.
I hate to
I
say this.
remember.
you know?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I used to think I was too cool for marketing. I used to think I was too cool for social media. Now I love it. It's so
Well,
much fun.
and the same thing, like I somehow fell out of it there for a while. I don't know exactly why, but social media wasn't. No one else was doing it, right? At least in this
Mm.
industry. And then it became a little bit by little bit. I was seeing that, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's something. And people think, oh, it's too hard, but it's not really. It's you can learn. I mean, we're not too old to learn, and you just got to start somewhere
Yeah,
and
plus,
get
yeah,
doing.
we're not too old. Thanks for saying that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so I love that you're doing social media. You and I are social media studs, right? Just
we are.
sounded good. All right, so what about business practices? Obviously, your practice has grown. You've grown it to a big practice here in the Northwest, specifically on Bainbridge Island. What are you doing, kind of unique in that regard?
Well, I did, with your help, set up, the LLC, and
Mm,
then um, became a business where I'm a actual employee of my company, and then I also am an S corp for tax
hmm
purposes, and so that really helped. It did help with saving taxes, which was very surprising that I could see, that you could actually give yourself a salary. And you explain all that a whole lot better than I do. But that definitely has been something. I think I started that about 4 years ago now. And before I'd always been a 1099. And I'm sure with each person, it needs to be what works for them. But this has been good. And as far as other business practices, having the assistant that's virtual, but she's a contract only. She's
Yeah,
not in.
how important is that? Let's talk about that. Like, how important is it to have an assistant? Would you make the equation? It's just like having a computer or a car. It's that essential.
Well, I think not in the, maybe when you're starting out, maybe not.
Mm,
You don't need it as much maybe in the beginning, but um, um, as you get busier, well, I would think with social media, if it's something that you're not, great at, right?
mm,
Then I think it's almost imperative that you hire someone to help you
mm,
with that. Because now, especially since you can find it for such of a low cost, you do not have to spend a lot of money on that. There are,
mm,
you can outsource it just like you do everything else.
mm,
So yeah, I think it's important to have. If you're not able to do that, like my best energy is spent making contacts with people and networking and doing the actual deals. When I
mm.
can assign away some other or delegate something else, I feel like that's the way to go. That I can do, because otherwise you can get caught up in all the paperwork stuff.
I like it. I like it. So let's throw in a little commercial from you. So give it. Let's say I'm sure there's going to be some people on Bainbridge who are going to be watching or listening to this.
Oh no,
So why you? Why you as a real estate agent? If I want to buy a house or sell a house, either one, I guess, on
yep.
Bainbridge Island.
Is this supposed to be my elevator pitch?
Yeah,
Uh,
there you go.
well, I think experience is primarily one of the main reasons that you hire me. Like I said, I've been in business for 25 years on Bainbridge, 30 altogether. Oh my gosh, that's like way too long. And hey, so Chris, that's Danny waving. And now he made me lose my train of thought. Uh,
Why you? Give me the elevator pitch. Why you?
yeah, so the experience, and you know what? I'm a lot of fun to work with, but you won't find anybody really that will work harder for you, because my favorite thing is to be able to basically almost play a matchmaking game where I'm helping that young couple, or even the older couple that is downsizing, and I'm helping them find their new home and their new space. And the same with selling. I really love the marketing part of it, and I love the before and afters, and I have a whole system and a whole lot of vendors that I work with that will drop everything and come to me because they want my business, right? And so they know to respond. So that's been very helpful to my clients, is the fact that I can really help them get the things needed done before they put their house on the market.
I get it. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that elevator pitch was all wrong. You know why?
Yeah.
I'm going to say people should come to you because they can trust you. I've known you for a long time. You're one of my wife's best friends, probably one of my best friends. I love your kids. I mean, I would say people can trust you. And I think that's huge because when I want to hire someone, I want to make sure that they're taking my best interest at heart. And I know that you without a doubt do that. So that's my suggestion for you. I know that's true.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can
not
be
sure
trusted.
yeah, you caught me off guard, but yeah, no, that is totally right. I thank you for that, Kenner. I do hope that you can trust me because I that's important to me for sure.
Yeah, sweet. All right, let's get just a couple more questions. So, looking back, you've been in business for 30 something years. What else would you change? What's one bit of advice to, let's say, someone who's been in any industry for 20 years? What's one other bit of advice that you would provide to them?
That they've already been in the business for about 20 years and they're
Yeah.
looking. Yeah, well, then I would say if they're not already using social media
Okay.
and marketing, that they should be. And it's hard for people who have been around doing it one way for so long. And there's a lot of people, even in my own office, that struggle with that because it feels unfamiliar to them and it makes them as if you don't know it. But that, I would say, that is a way to make yourself stand out, without a doubt.
Okay. So again, I'm not going to ask you for do a commercial, but let's say there's another real estate agent out there and whatever in your area, Paulsbo, Kitsap County. Couldn't they potentially work with you as an agent, or can you, strategic alliance, or can they come on board? I don't know how it works at your specific place.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure. I mean that they could. Sometimes we do have, we'll co-list properties together. And as far as coming on board with my company, yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I chose Real Logic Sotheby's, which is the umbrella that I work under, is because I felt like they had such a great marketing background because they were formed. The Real Logic's part started out as a marketing company. And before they were a real estate company, and then Real Logics bought the Sotheby's franchise for the area, and I started with them 12 years ago, where I was one of the founding members of the Bainbridge Island office, and so there was just like three of us. It was Dennis, Sonia, and myself. And we were this tiny little firm here on Bainbridge Island, and that everybody didn't think would last because there were some old dogs in the business that had been here for a long time. And now we're like one of the top selling companies on the island, and our average list and sales price is the highest of any company.
There you go. Really nice.
Yeah. So as far as bringing people over, we for sure, if anyone ever wanted to talk to me about joining Real Logic, Sotheby's, or working with me in some sort of aspect, I'm all for that.
Sweet. All right. I guess landing the ship, or I should say landing the plane. How does someone get a hold of you if they're interested?
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Kristi Nelson Real Estate. Or you could also give me a phone call at 206-391-1718, or you can just Google me and I'll pop right up.
Awesome. I think it's kind of cool that you're the inaugural person. You're the first person who's going to be on the Bainbridge Island specific Saturday viewership list. So that's kind of cool.
I love it. That's great, Kenner. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
You better believe it. Hey, for everyone out there, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. You could be watching, listening to so many other things, and hopefully this is going to be a pretty cool thing. We're trying to help out the Bainbridge Island community by getting the word out, telling them about taxes, getting other entrepreneurs on here so they can listen, view, and learn from people like young Kristi Nelson. So Kristi, again, thank you. You like that? Kristi, again, thank you very much for everyone. Again, thank you so much for taking time to listen. Kenner French from vastsolutionsgroup.com. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Nice job, young lady. That was your first podcast. Nice work.